today is actually Shane Hunt. Shane, it is yours.
Mine?
Yay.
See what we can do on this. My beg for mercy is I have not sold a single ticket yet. I have been occupied with a project. So here's where we're at, and a little background so you know where I started with this. There was a study done in the late 90s, early 2000s that talked about the experience economy and how things have been done to shift from purchase economy, campers, boats, things like that, to where younger generations are now purchasing the experience. You know, I want to feel something, I want to be a part of something, I want to document something, I want to put it on social media, and that experience is billions of dollars. So a friend of mine has a development company in Hot Springs. He does these types of venues. We began to explore options back about 5 years ago. We were looking at one for Saline County. We then shifted it to Hot Springs. Hot Springs didn't work. When I became president of the chamber, I reached back out to Rick Wilson and said, is this something still on the table? He said, absolutely, but let's see what we can do different. We originally looked at doing the outdoor amphitheater, much like there's the one in Rogers. That's the direction we were going to go. But when national companies were doing their market study on Saline County and Bryant, they suggested that we switch, that we look at something more indoor, something smaller, and we began to look at different venues and what would fit here in Saline County. So these are the advertisements that you're going to see throughout the campaign, and that's where we're at right now. Bryant City Council voted unanimously to put it on the ballot for May 13th. That is the primary election, okay? No more special elections. You got two opportunities in the state of Arkansas, the primary or the general. So if you have a ballot measure, it's going to go on one of those two. Ours is going to go on the primary. So again, this is just a concept illustration to give folks kind of a thought, something to think about. These are the advertisements that you're going to see here. This is the important aspect. You have to vote yes twice. Vote yes first time is to reappropriate the bond. Your second yes vote is to apply that appropriation to this venue. If the vote is split, project is dead. Okay? If it's obviously both no votes, the project is dead. If they vote yes to renew the bond, but not to apply the renew or the bond to this project is dead. All right, so we have to have two yes votes on this project. Here's your location. Gassie's is here now. There's 15 acres of land here. We have an MOU with that property owner that if the bond passes, the city is going to purchase that 15 acres. The footprint for the venue and the parking lot is roughly 12 acres. So that's going to leave us 3 acres to build a cushion. What we want to do is, in talking with the developer, is we want to build a natural barrier to keep the trees and stuff around the homes, okay? Now, I have had some conversations with RDOT and MetroPlan. I have another meeting with them next week. What we are discussing is this middle thumbtack right here, this pin drop where Meeting Street connects. Highway 5 is going to be the main egress and ingress for the traffic. We're going to stay away from Lowry. We're going to force all of the traffic onto the 5-lane highway, which is more than enough. And then our second conversation is a potential traffic light here at Meeting Street to help everything flow. Okay? They are very open to those discussions, so much so as that Shane, we're coming to see you next week. Let's sit down and talk about it, because now's the time to build this in while we're going through our right-of-ways and things like that. So this is our area of focus. This is RJ's infamous ice machine right here that he is very concerned about. I told him we'll take care of your ice machine, but 2.89 acres has come up for sale right here. The developer is looking to buy that land as well. We have had 2 hotel groups reach out to us for hotels and restaurants on this property. Those conversations are going very well with them. Okay, so that's where we're at on the location. What's going to be built? We're looking at a facility like no other in the state of Arkansas. We've got some blueprints, not physical blueprints, but concepts, ideas. What are we going to build? What is this thing going to look like? So we went to 3 different venues, and I'm going to walk you through these 3 venues. So there was no need to overthink it. People are like, well, where's your drawings? What's it going to look like? We don't have to get there right now. Okay, they wanted X amount of dollars up front to begin those drawings. We said, let's hold on to them. We know what we're going to go after. We have an idea of what it's going to look like. So let's save the money until the residents give us an affirmation on the vote. So here's the 3 venues that we're studying. The Steel House in Omaha, Nebraska. The Moody Theater, Austin City Limits in Austin, Texas. And the Factory in Chesterfield, Missouri. The Factory is the one that we've kind of zeroed in on. What we've done with the Steel House and the Moody is we've taken different aspects that have been very successful for them, and we're looking at ways to marry that into the design of the Factory. All right, and I'll lay all this out for you as we go through this, okay? So here's the Steel House in Nebraska. Flat floor. You see elevated seating here in the perimeter, right? This is another look, the elevated seating. This one is floor level and then 1 single level elevated. The Moody is 3, okay? But you see a concept that is common among all 3 venues that we are looking at, and that is the flat floor, elevated seating with concessions on the sides and in the rears. All right? What they've also done at the Steel House is this is a perimeter. It's what do you call that? It's not the entrance. It's kind of a foyer.
Concourse?
A concourse. This is rentable. So what we did was we looked at each facility and how they broke down their facilities in each area that can be rented out. So every square foot in these 3 venues are built to make money. So you could rent this concourse area, and you see it has concessions here for a private party. And I'll show you how they broke this down in each one of the venues. These are all rentables within the Steel House. Steel House was built in 2023. It has a maximum capacity of 3,000. Their total square footage is 103,000. This was the largest venue that we looked at. Now you have the Moody. We fell in love with the Moody. Now let me tell you something about the Moody. The city of Austin built this, much like with what we're doing right now. Okay? 98% of these venues are public-private partnerships. City of Austin built this, got it paid for, and then a certain actor come along with an investment group. This building cost $65 million. He sold it for $145 million. And it still serves as a concert venue. But you see the flat floor? The Moody has got 2 tiers. Okay? But same concept. This one, built in 2011, 53,000 square foot, so we're getting into the ballpark of what we're looking at for Bryant, right? Flat floor, you see the seating, and what's unique is if I can get one of the pictures here, and I'll get there. Here's one of the areas that you can rent. The capacity, this is called the 310, seated 150. They can clear it out and do 350 or bring in tables and do 80. Here's another example of how this flexibility of these types of venues are. You see the elevated seating in the back, but this one is built for more of a banquet. All right, here is the Moody and how they broke down their various rentables. Mezzanine gallery, balcony gallery, music porch. So each one of these areas function as an opportunity to generate income. All right, this is the one we're focusing on. The Factory in Chesterfield, Missouri. built in 2022, 52,000 square foot. So we're looking at a building between 50 and 55,000 square foot. We're looking at a capacity between 2,250 and 3,000. It's going to depend upon our construction costs when we finally start putting pen to paper, all right? This is the back end of the factory. This is a concessions area. This is also built to where you can section off for private booths or things like that. If a company says, I want my own private box, you can do that for this type of facility. Here is the back concession, looking out onto the stage. You see flat floor, fixed stage. Here is set up for a banquet. This is from the stage looking out. This is about what we're going to, this is the concept we're after. A single tier, flat floor, fixed seating in the perimeter. You see the concessions over here to the side, and then concessions in the back, okay? So this type of venue gives you so much flexibility. Weddings, galas, concerts, comedy, rent the floor, rent the whole building, or this is from the top deck looking down. Or I can rent this section here. Okay, this is a side view of the factory. Back view, this section here, you can rent this if you don't need the floor, but I just want a private party back here. This section you can rent out. And let me see if it'll play the video. It may not. No video? Okay, it's cool.
I didn't know, I didn't know what for one.
It was embedded, so it may not have.
I'm just copying the slides.
Okay? So, the factory, full capacity is 3,400, and then you see the various sections within the building that can be rented out and what their capacities are. So you can go from 150 in the upstairs lobby, you can have a cocktail style event, 150, all the way up to full capacity of 3,400. So we're after a facility that gives the community that kind of flexibility. Even enough flexibility, you could have multiple events at the same time inside the facility. Okay? This will be a city-owned revenue source with extremely limited liabilities. And what we're talking about in the limited liabilities is this. The chamber is going to be the management arm of the facility. The city is not going to have to hire new personnel. They're not going to have to hire staff. None of that. The chamber will have a staff member that will be the venue manager. Everything else comes from the operator. When you sign the operator to the contract, the operator is the one that handles the bookings and all of that for the entertainers and the comedians. The other thing you have is food and beverage. It is a food and beverage contract that handles the concession stands and all of that. They handle the employees for the concessions. The operator handles the employees for the concerts. You have a contract for security. You have a contract for maintenance. Okay? The venue manager just manages those contracts through the chamber. Much like what the city of Benton, A&P, does with the chamber and the Benton Event Center. Okay? What we're looking at, guys, is to bring to the city fresh capital rather than recirculated capital. We want to bring in an infusion of money into this community from outside. Okay? And I'm going to address a question that I got was, Bryant's not big enough. Why would they want to put one in Bryant? We'll talk about that here in just a few moments. All right? So, we talk about parking and traffic flow. Let's talk about parking. The City of Bryant zoning ordinance for this type of commercial development is a 1 to 6. You need one parking spot for every 6 occupants or 6 seats. Okay? So if you have a 3,000 maximum capacity venue, you're looking at 500 parking spots. And you can work it down from there. Okay? Concerts and most events happen between 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. I hear people saying, oh God, the traffic's going to be horrible all day. No, it's not. You're looking at your peak times right here, and the vast majority of Bryant, we're in bed by this time, right? Okay? Here's the other thing. This property that we were looking at one point in time was being conditioned for Kroger. That's where Kroger Marketplace was originally supposed to have went. Well, everyone was like, oh, yes. Well, you think about the traffic from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. and something like, if it was a Sam's, if it was a Kroger, that's constant. This is not constant. Highway 5 will be 5 lanes. Traffic will focus on and off of Highway 5, not Lowry Lane. And the city can control the lights. The city has access to Reynolds, Parkway, and if we put a traffic light at meeting place, the city can control those lights. So at 11 o'clock, you can turn those things on green and you can unload this facility in 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, and we're right there on Highway 5 and we're just north of Interstate 30. So this thing will unload fairly quickly. All right, so why Bryant? This is not about Bryant's population. This is not about the expectation of the city of Bryant or the residents of Saline County buying all the tickets for this. We serve the MSA for Central Arkansas, and we're talking about these counties here, is 734,000. You throw in Garland County at 97,000, you're looking at north of 840,000 people. That is what we're after. We're after a venue that has a customer base of 840,000. Okay? Tacked on to this, my girls do it all the time. They've been to El Dorado 3 or 4 times this year. They've been to Rogers twice. People will drive 2 and 3 hours to see a good concert. Okay? So if you do that, you add that to it, then you're coming down into this area, you're tapping into Russellville, Fort Smith, Jonesboro, Searcy, all of that then becomes eligible for ticket sales. Okay? So when people say, why Bryant, we're too small, it's not about the Bryant population. It's about putting a venue in a geographical location that is smart. Interstate 30, Central Arkansas, Nashville, Memphis, Little Rock, Dallas. You take that I-30 corridor into Interstate 40, Bryant is the prime location. And we're right in the middle of 800,000 people. Okay? The music venue, there is an organization called the Independent Venue Association. Instead of it being, there's like 400 something independent venues. This one will be an independent venue until we come under an operator, right? So the Independent Venue Association did a study on our facility and what we were looking at, and I got this as the most recent one. Yeah, we were up that late discussing this situation. Here is what they estimate. Your regional population is here, 500,000 to 900. We just showed you that with the MSA. We're looking at a venue capacity of minimum 1,500. They go up to 7,500 for their studies. If you sell, this is not so much the key as it is this one. If you will sell 100,000 to 150,000 tickets, you should generate globally in your regional impact 12.9 million and create about 87 jobs. Now, that's not careers, that's jobs, okay? That's you know, me making a phone call saying, hey, Shane, who do you have working parking? Can I get a little side gig doing your parking? Yep, that's one of those 87, okay? Do you have a question?
Just, did you also figure the regional economic impact on the movement? The 50,000 to 100,000?
No, they stuck with their numbers there. He said they got their formula fixed in on these categories and but You take an infusion of 12.9 million into Bryant's economy, Saline County's economy, Benton's economy, that's huge. That's fresh capital. That's getting people out of the homes of Benton, Bryant, Bauxite, our surrounding areas, and having them spend money that they normally would not. And then it's also bringing in money from the outside that would go somewhere else or not be spent at all. Okay?
Hey, Shane, on that screen one more time. Is that only ticket sales, or does that include if Blue House stayed open late that night and they had a dinner in association with the concert? Is that
Yes.
tickets only, or is that total economic?
That's total economic impact.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. And again, it's like they said,
Hotel.
this depends, and when we were discussing this, they said, Shane, this is on average. If you sell 100,000 to 150,000 people, that means tickets. That means that's the number of people coming into that venue. This is estimated what you should see. Now, that is going to fluctuate based upon the entertainers that's coming into the building. Because my discussion with the operators, you're looking at ticket sales anywhere between $45 to $50 starting out. Shane, it could go all the way up to $300, $400, $500, $600 depending upon the entertainer. We'll talk about the entertainers here in just a moment. Then you're going to see this grow. Because what will happen is you're now attracting people that travel. So that means they will come in that morning, rent their hotel, stay all day, party all night, go to the concert, crash at the hotel again that night, get up in the morning, eat breakfast, then leave. So when you start bringing in the higher end talent, this number goes up, okay? So let me do this. I want to talk about, Miss Tiffany, get me there, the higher end talent. All right. So I called a certain country music star, and he put me in touch with his two top people. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I sat down with these two guys, and I said, I need to go to entertainer school. And they said, meet me at this bar, you're going to go to entertainer school. And it was by the fire hose. I mean, I was, wow. There is a misconception that entertainers that are high dollar only want to play 50, 60, 70,000 seat venues. No. They're after this.
Megan Ryan, El Dorado, and
Yes.
the number 3, what's it called in Chesterfield? She's there.
Yes.
I've tried to get amp tickets, they're $400.
Yes.
It's a momentary.
So
Yeah.
so here's the example that I got. I'm not a music guy, okay? I'm just not. So they had who? Okay, gotcha. Post Malone.
Uh-huh.
Post Malone will play a venue like this
Yes.
and charge $400 a ticket to start because he knows this is going to be max capacity. And the feel, the music, the lights, the feel, when you walk out of there, you're like, oh my gosh. I'm like, okay. But when you're sitting up here, you feel like you're on top of the stage. And you see the way they've set up their speakers, the experience that you get, you will drop a $400 ticket to sit way up there to see Post Malone, and you will pay $1,500 to stand right here. Because what they'll do is they'll take all these chairs out, and it's standing room only, and you're like this. They'll do it in a heartbeat. And they said, Shane, we don't have anything like this in Arkansas. We don't have anything like this till we get to Nashville. We don't have anything like this till we get to Fort Worth, till we get to Austin, and we get to San Antonio. We don't have anything like this till we get to Missouri. We don't have anything like this till we get to Omaha. You give us something like this, okay? And the hall in Little Rock, no. Totally different, okay? So the entertainers, we're not limited by who we can attract by having a facility like this. Because they're looking for this. This is what they're after. And here's the other thing that I learned about the entertainment industry. who is your caterer? Because if you will take care of my band, if you will take care of my crew, and they love your food, we'll play your site. Do you have laundry services? Because we've been on the road now for the last 30, 45 days, and we stink. Our stuff needs to be washed. Here's the other thing that I learned. They want ping pong tables, foosball tables, they want gaming systems, they want things in the back that they can do and their crew and them can hang out and enjoy their downtime before they take the stage. All of those little things matter. So when we're designing this building, we're designing it for that purpose as well, is to make sure that the talent that we bring in, they want to not only come back, but they call their buddies and say, dude, you got to go play this place. That the food is killer. It's awesome. It's great. Go play it. And yeah, you can do $400, $500, $600 a ticket in Central Arkansas, pay it. Okay? So that's what I wanted to, kind of visit with you a little bit about that situation. Okay? So we got to vote yes twice. That is the key. Let Bryant residents know. May 13th, vote yes twice. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
You know, what you said about location is so important. And although the music industry has changed and the type of venue needed has changed, that's what Barton Coliseum did for years and years and years, and drew rock and roll bands that were unexpected for Central Arkansas. So if we can key into that, they're going to be in Dallas playing, they're going to Nashville. You know,
Don't drive right by it.
that's key. I mean, that is so key. But so if we can really get in the middle and say, come here because it's on your way, we can really make this work.
Shane, how much more lodging will we need?
We're going to need significantly more. Okay, so these two hotel groups that I visited with, they see it, what they are waiting on, and rightfully so. They're waiting to see what the residents of Bryant do before they start shelling out money to buy land, do studies, where do we put them, how do we put them, how big, how tall. So this kind of goes back to this nuance of give and take from the city, with the city. Like, for example, one of the negotiations with the city is going to be, we're going to have to rework our ordinances on the height of buildings.
So it's like fire.
Yes. So then that's working with the fire department to make sure, and we can, our trucks can do it, but we've got to go taller than 4 stories.
Yeah, you can have to have 7 stories.
Mm-hmm.
Will it be in with the hotel? Let's say we get Lionel Richie, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Who's that?
Yeah. I'll get that.
Mark, yeah.
Will it be in with the hotel's descriptions that we need a facility with rooms for our stars that are coming to town to stay there?
No.
As opposed to going to Little Rock?
No.
Stay in it.
What we've learned with negotiating, and my time with them, the entertainer themselves are the last one to come in.
Okay.
And they usually fly in, get their ride, come to the venue, chill out for a little bit, perform, and then leave. It's the crew that they want to be taken care of.
And so this is only City of Bryant residents who are voting on this?
City limits, registered voters within the city limits of Bryant. Yes, sir.
Because it's a bond that the city has voted in
That's correct.
to build Bishop and some other places, so it is.
So it's the bond that built Bishop, it's the bond that built Parkway and some fire station. So it's the residents in the city limits of Bryant, because that bond is tied to the city of Bryant. Now, bond council gave some numbers at a council meeting, and our current growth rate as a city, which our growth rate is exceeding the state average as far as the money that we're taking in, it is very likely that this particular bond, $30 million, it's the bringing over some other debt on top of this one, combining it. The city could see this thing paid off in 8 to 10 years, max, at 0 growth rate. If we stay just the way we are, 8 to 10. But you add this with our current growth rate, in reality, you're looking at about 8 years, this thing could be paid off. Yes, ma'am.
Shane, we had a meeting at the chamber, and
Sherry was talking about, like, the bond, what people don't understand is if they don't approve that bond dies.
Yeah.
It can't be renewed. If you, like, you're voting to renew the bond as well as, you know, the BAM, but if you don't renew the bond, if you don't, then it's dead.
So that's true, but let's say on May 13th, the Bryant residents say no. The city is still gonna be paying for this same bond for the next few years.
Yeah.
It's still there, okay? Now, they could do something later on, try another election for another building, but to that point, if they say no this time, and if they were to say no again, or the city doesn't do anything, yes, the bond, it sunsets. Everything goes away, okay? Any other questions? I know AY's back here in the back. Shelley, you guys got any questions?
I've just heard people asking about traffic, and you answered that. I've heard people say, why the heck would, big acts come to Bryant? You answered that.
So I am negotiating right now with 3 operators, okay? 2 on the national level and 1 within Arkansas. All 3 of them, without hesitation, said, this is the spot. To y'all's point, there's nothing between Memphis, and very few are stopping in Memphis now, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio. There's nothing in between. And if we can be that go-between stop, right on the interstate, 5-lane highway that connects into Little Rock, we got great population base in the MSA within Central Arkansas, 800 and something thousand people. We have good incomes. We have disposable income. We have a younger population. It's perfect. Now, bear in mind that this venue is set up to be managed in this way. We will have the cherry on top with the 1 or 2 concerts a week. But we're also building this because we want to bring in those corporate galas. We want to have those weddings. We want to have prom. We want the different organizations to be able to rent different portions of this building. We want something within Bryant that we as a community can hang our hat on and say, that's ours. That's ours. Yes, ma'am.
I'm getting the cart before the horse, and that's my habit of looking further down. Can we expand? Because I'm not sure it's even gonna be big enough by the time we get there.
We will leave room for expansion, but bear in mind, these types of facilities, you expand up, okay? So we will have to see, and again, that's a good question, definitely looking down the line. But what my job is to bring a venue that tips over the other dominoes, okay? My next venture, and I am working now with Chris Bond, C-Bond Strategies. We are getting ready to package Bryant for retail development, okay? I met yesterday with another developer, local person building some commercial space here in Bryant. We met with a restaurant operator yesterday, and that restaurant operator said, yes, I want to put one here. We're talking upscale dining, something different for us. Okay, more higher end, but it's cool. And we're looking at about 3,000 to 4,000 square foot restaurant for that. But I want this venue for a selfish reason, and I'll say this, so I can have us a cornerstone that I can then go to retail developers and say, look, we have an infusion of 100,000+ people coming in our community. I need this now. Okay, so I want this venue to be that apex project that tips over the other dominoes, so we can start moving some of our commercial property into retail restaurant development that increases our tax base.
Shane, how do you combat, this is a new tax to our people when they go to vote?
So it's just educating, because it's not. This is not an A&P tax. This is not a new sales tax. This is not a tax increase. Bryant's sales tax right now is 3% with this current bond. If the residents choose to renew this, it will stay 3%. It will not go up.
That's important to get that across, because otherwise it's dead.
So you see the signs going out. The next thing we've done is we developed a push card. It's at the printer right now, where we have some frequently asked questions on the back. We have some highlight points on the front, and those are the things that we are highlighting. This is not a tax increase. Your sales tax will not go up. How about this one? If you vote no, your sales tax is not going to go down. You're going to be stuck with it for a few more years. So why not put it to work? Let's look at it like this. This tax is going to be on the books for 3 to 4 more years. Put it to work for the next 3 to 4 years. Build it, generating income that goes to police, fire, parks, infrastructure. Pays off the bond in 4 more years. Then you go after infrastructure. Now you have a revenue source in place that will help you pay for and maintain the infrastructure that you build. If you go and build infrastructure right now, what are you going to use to pay for the upkeep of that infrastructure? You've got to have a revenue source that is long-term and sustainable to take care of the infrastructure that we know we need to put into the city. And the city did a really good job. Their public works director, he gave a presentation where he endorsed this project and said this right now is the best use of this bond money before we do any infrastructure work with the money. We need that revenue source. Yes, sir.
Timing is always the most important thing, but if you look at Bryant, what they've done in the last 30 years, they're very progressive in a lot of their thinking. But going back to timing, if you look at Buc-ee's is coming in, so there's a lot of industries out there looking at Saline County. And I think that this is just another one of those examples of what our county and Bryant can do if we just let the voters know. What are the advantages of this coming into in Bryant?
So here's the advantage of this. That's a very good point. Industrially, Saline County is not going to be an industrial hub. Okay, we're more of a healthcare, tech, maybe even some data services down the future. But as far as like heavy industry, that's still going to be Little Rock. That's going to be the Riverport. That's going to be those out. But what we can be is those managers, those CFOs, those CEOs. They live here. They shop here. They eat here. They go to a concert here. They ride the bike trails here. They live here, send their kids to school here, and then they drive over to the Riverport to work. Or they drive downtown to Stevens or wherever. We could become that destination, not only for entertainment, but also for a high quality of life, because we're having more and more things come into our county for people to do. Anything else?
I was just gonna say, and I'm sure we all run into this, but I was in Benton the other day, and two ladies from Little Rock come in, and we're shopping, and so I was telling them all about down there, and then I sent them down here, and they actually shopped and bought something down here, because I saw them at Blue House afterwards.
Cool.
So, people are coming from Little Rock to see what our community's all about.
Yep. And hopefully, one of my goals when this is built, these guys start opening in the evenings on a regular basis. But these shops that close at 5 o'clock, maybe they'll start staying open till 7, 8, 9 o'clock because of the foot traffic. Okay? All right. Thank y'all.
I've been looking forward to a hearing from him for a while. I've been privileged to hear it a couple of times, but it's real exciting. It's what we need. So just make sure you stay in touch with Shane. Put a sign in your yard if anybody can see it. I put it in mine, but nobody ever sees my yard.
Oh yeah, I've got yard signs. Y'all come by the office, grab your yard signs.
And remember, it is people who live in Bryant, within the city limits, that are gonna be able to vote. And getting the yes vote out is what it's gonna take. If we don't get the yes vote out, then no votes are gonna come.
Shane, will that
Yes.
description that you had, the questionnaire, will we be able to have that on Facebook as well? You know, the question, frequently asked
Oh, yeah.
questions.
Well, it's a PDF, and I'll be
Okay.
able to put that out. Once I get the print, then we'll put that out and
That
share
would
it.
be very helpful to everyone.
Yeah, it will. Okay, we're gonna do the card draw.